What up, guys? Welcome to SLC Punkcast Live and Wired. I'm your host, Eric the Unit Norris, and this has been a pretty fucking, it's been a heavy month. There's been so much shit going on, week in, week out. There have been so many fucking shows. So many of them. I mean, if you listen to the past episodes, you know how much my fucking head was spinning. So much so, I feel like I'm going hairless sooner. Anyway, so yeah, plenty of Tales from the Pit 2 have been had, and I have a couple from this last week. One of them was awesome, another one was just as awesome, but for different reasons. Now let's get into it. This is Tales from the Pit, title pending. Anyway, it was like a City Babies in the Suburbs, something like that. It starts off with the show that I went to that was the major punk show, and then there was a backyard show that I went to a day after that. So yeah, I'll figure something out. City Babies in the Suburbs, possibly. We'll go with that. Anyway, yeah, the first show, in case you couldn't tell, it was GBH. The mighty GBH returned to Salt Lake City, and I was so happy to see them again. I mean, I've only seen them once. I was at Punk Rock Bowling when they played a couple of years ago, which was awesome. It was an awesome set, but I wanted to see them in my home city, you know? And I wanted to be in a crowd with my friends, and I wanted to be up there, just like yelling in Colin's face, just like, City Baby, City Baby, City Baby! And it was exactly that. But before I get too ahead of myself, let's talk about when I got there. The band, the Knuckleheadz, was just finishing up their set. They had 2 songs left. They were on their last 2 songs. I managed to catch the last little bit, and they were awesome. I hadn't heard these guys until that day, and they were like, just really straightforward, fast, punchy, hardcore punk. And one thing to note is that the singer, well, one of them, they had 2 singers. One of them was very well built, a very triangular shaped torso. And you could just tell that he had been working his physique out for quite some time. You know, definitely no carbs, all protein. This guy was disciplined to that. And he is basically so fucking disciplined and just so attached to his workout routine and his dietary routines that he said that it's punk rock to work out. It's punk rock to stay in shape. And I'm just thinking, I think that's more attuned to hardcore guys, you know? I've seen more in shape hardcore guys than I have punk rockers. but I guess that's just how you view it. Yes, it's a punk rock to keep your body in shape, keep your body healthy and shit like that. Yeah, that's a good message by which to live. I agree. So, but not everything has to be punk rock. Jesus Christ. But whatever. The fact is they put on some damn good music. They were really fun to watch. What little of them I did get to see, but I just arrived a little too late. But you'll hear more about Knucklehead's set when Dustin takes over, because him and I were at the same show. He arrived early, I arrived late. He left early, I left after it ended. So you get the full story from each of us. Anyway, that's sort of what Knuckleheadz was. And then the next band, Slaughterhouse. That was a band I really wanted to see. I had only seen them one other time. It was when they were on tour with Bad Religion with their original lineup. I mean, Eddie is still in the band. I mean, he's their bassist. He's the creator. He's the guy who made this fucking band, and his wife is still drumming for him. But they had a different guitarist and a different singer ever since I had seen them. And if you listen to my reviews on their on their material in the SLC Punkcast, their first album, Fun Factory, sounds very late 70s post-punk. Very sort of, I'm trying to think of a right band to compare them to. I don't know, you think Joy Division, only not as moody? You think some of the later Damned material? Or some of the Buzzcocks, I would say. But then their very next EP, the one that came out this year, Sick and Tired, is just fucking slamming punchy ass hardcore punk music, and it's just awesome to hear. And they played a good mix of both ends of that in their set. And what was crazy is they did not have their singer. They did not. Their lead singer was, I even asked Eddie after the show, like, what was up? She said she had some personal troubles to deal with back home, and it pained her to have to turn down this tour. But, of course, they weren't going to say no. So who they got to substitute for her was this little pint-sized string bean girl called Pascal, who just absolutely killed it in that position. She just like held over the audience. She got down into the crowd and just started yelling at people, throwing people around a little bit. And all the while she had attempted Liberty Spikes. Now I say attempted because she pointed this out later in the show that the guys from Knuckleheadz were giving her Liberty Spikes backstage. It started up on top right here, but about halfway down was her hair just going at its natural drop. So what I assume is that they started giving her the Liberty Spikes before they had to go on set, but only had time to do that much before she had to take stage. So if anything, she looked like a pint-sized Wendigo. It was pretty funny, but trust me, that did not hinder her performance. Her performance was really great. She hit all the melodic parts, and she had the right pitch so perfectly. And the only downside is when it came for like the screams, for the yells, they weren't as powerful. Now I know that wasn't a mic thing or a power thing because I could hear her vocals clearly when she was singing the clear parts, but when it came to the screams, you could tell that there was some reservation there because she jumped on this tour kind of last minute. She had only so much prep time to really get all the vocals down, learned all the lyrics, learned all the vocals, knew exactly what to hit and when to hit it. But, if you're doing gutturals along with like these types of vocals, then you definitely don't want to overdo it. You don't want to blow your voice box. You don't want to rupture any vocal cords. You don't want to fuck up your voice. You don't want to do that. So yeah, throw caution to the wind. Throw caution to the wind and just proceed accordingly. Proceed cautiously. Intelligently, we'll say. So yeah, but either way, it was all in the energy. The energy was all there, and they even did their cover of Black Flag's My War, which got everybody fucking riled up. And Eddie was just so happy to be there, big old smile on his face the whole time, and he was just so happy to say that he was on tour with GBH, all these bands he'd been listening to back in the day. He says, I'm stoked to say that I'm from Los Angeles, shit like that, because they have such an amazing scene, has such an amazing musical history. I grew up listening to bands like Circle Jerks and Descendants, Bad Religion, and this is the music that I wanted to create. And he certainly did. It just took him a while to get there. It took him one whole album to get there. But it was great. It was great seeing him and great talking to all the guys. And Eddie recognized me. Even though we hadn't met, he already knew. He's like, "You're the guy from the Punkcast, aren't you?" "Yep, that's me." So Eddie, if this catches wind of it, if this gets back to you, if you end up watching this video, and just rock on, man. I don't know what else to say. You're just an awesome dude, awesome musician. You have an awesome band. And I'm stoked that you guys were on that tour with one of the greatest fucking punk bands of all time. Speaking of which, let's talk about their set. Let's talk about GBH. Oh my God, was their set fucking amazing. They went absolutely nuts. And when I say they, I mean the crowd. The audience went absolutely fucking bonkers when they were playing. And people were just like crowding up at the top when they first came on. The first song they did was the Diplomatic something or other. I can't remember the name of the song, but I recognize Jesus Christ, I recognize the words. I mean, I'll give you a picture of the set list. I'll put it up right here. There you go. So, yeah, that's basically what we're looking at here. They did, they hit some fucking really good ones here, like Slit Your Own Throat, as you can see. That was a good one, and Drugs, 526. Of course, Sick Boy made its appearance very early in the set, which was which was nice. And also War Dogs got people fucking crazy. Maniac had everybody running in circles. I loved that one. And, Hunted for, Jesus Christ, why am I saying it that way? The song Hunted is just absolutely, it's a great song, and I loved hearing that one live. I was just up there, yeah! I was just up there screaming in Colin's face like I just really needed to be there. And, yeah, I was. Oh God, and then the, Discipline was a good one, and then they had and then of course Give Me Fire and Time Bomb when they did their fake little, fake encore sort of thing. Give Me Fire was that one always gets people riled up. It certainly got me riled up. Holy shit. And then they saved the best for last, the City Baby songs, the City Baby series. City Baby, Attacked by Rats, and of course City Baby's Revenge. Then they left the stage, I'm doing air quotes here. I don't know if you're still looking at the set list or looking at me, but I'm not the one who edits these things. If you're looking, the City Baby songs just got everybody fucking crazy. And then they go off stage for a little bit, come back after a few minutes, and then they come right in with Time Bomb. And they move ever so seamlessly into the show closer, their cover of Motorhead's Bomber. So Time Bomber. I go, fuck yeah. And for some reason I was thinking, wouldn't it be hilarious if the Time Bomb they were playing was their version of the Rancid song? That would have been fucking weird. That would have been super weird, but I don't know. I'm kind of open to it. GBH covering Rancid. I mean, it should be the other way around, but I've seen weirder things. But anyway, that was the fucking set, and man, GBH has still fucking got it. I mean, they have such a maniacal energy, and you got to think like these are the guys that are probably responsible for the image of punk. I mean, if you think about punk rock, I mean, what's the image that comes to your mind? You know, spiky hair, mohawks, and the, studded jackets, or shirts with torn off sleeves and like slits in them and shit like that. Studded belts, combat boots, the whole fucking 9 yards. That image of punk rockers was set because of bands like GBH. And of course, the Exploited and Conflict and all the street punk bands, all the UK-82 bands, they had that image. It was sort of like an accentuation of the styles from the 70s. And it just kept getting more and more absurd as it went on. It was like a lot more in your face. And of course, you had the charged hair. It wasn't Liberty Spikes, it was charged hair. It was just basically spiked up, but they weren't like, it was just, wow. You know what I'm talking about, the charged hair, charged GBH. And, I got nothing but good things to say about those guys. City Baby, Attacked by Rats is still such a fucking phenomenal record. City Baby's Revenge is also phenomenal. Pretty much every album that they have put out has something of worth to give. I Am the Hunted. That's what the song's called. I Am the Hunted. There always is something of worth in GBH. GBH's catalog. Leathers, Bristles, No Survivors, Six Boys. You gotta love their titles of their compilations. It's some fun stuff. So much fun stuff. Street punk to the fucking max. They're pretty much the reason why street punk exists, why it's even really a genre. But anyway, that was the story of my life in the city. A little baby in the city. And then the next show that I went to was not even really a show that was announced. It was really just kind of a party, and they just had a couple of their friends' bands playing. That band was my girlfriend. Her band was playing. Yep, Kate LeDeuce. She was playing. She played a set at her friend JB. JB's house. And yeah, it was just a nice get together. I don't know if there was a real reason behind it. He just really wanted to have people over. He wanted to have his friends' bands play a set, and the only other band that was playing was the band Lucid, who are a old school kind of rock and roll band, more on like the kind of on the lighter Sabbath side. We'll say that, sort of doomy. But not quite so heavy. More like psych rock. They had a lot of jammy parts, but anyway, the show itself was good. I mean, Kate played a really great set. Her band was just super on point. So far, I've yet to be disappointed by any of their shows. So, and that's not me trying to be the good boyfriend or anything. I genuinely mean that. I think that they're a great band, and they just perform very well. Probably because they've been doing it for 20 years. Anyway, the next, and Lucid, they played very well as, also. The only thing was they're usually a two-man band, but they're usually a three-man band, but this time they only had two. They didn't have their bassist with them, so that kind of sucked. So yeah, they didn't have their bassist, but they were able to just use the guitar and the drums and play a pretty awesome set. And what was crazy is all the while there was this girl there, this not girl, but like young adult female. We'll say that. She was going a little too crazy, had a little too much to fucking drink, and was just like, in other words, it was a pretty chill audience, and everyone was just kind of hanging back. Other people were just like sitting on the couch. I was sitting on the couch that they had out back. And there's this one girl who's just going side to side, just slamming into people. And it wasn't with any type of precision or anything. She was, you could tell she was incredible. She had really been drinking. So she really didn't know what she was doing. At one point her boot fell off. And it just wasn't a pretty sight. So, but eventually her company, the company she was with, collected her, and it's like, okay, let's get you home. And that's the calmest way that I can put it. It's just, I won't name names, but if you were there, it's just like, no, there's a time and place for belligerent behavior like that. But when you are the only one who is instigating such behavior, nah, come on, read the room. Or in this case, the yard. So the show was pretty good, but I was there for the food. I was. That was, yes, I had to be the good boyfriend and go to my girlfriend's show. I mean, it's not like she really had to twist my arm. The food, though, was really nice. I mean, he made some pork belly brisket, this JB guy, and holy shit, this brisket's like thick strips of bacon, man. And he seasoned it so well. It was so sultry. I couldn't stop eating the fucking thing. And then there was some microwaved potato scallops and shit like that. So I'm just sitting there in the kitchen, and there's a window that goes directly to the backyard, the back porch on which all the bands were playing. So I'm just sitting there listening to the bands, eating my brisket. All right, I'm enjoying this. This is my spot. This is where I need to be. Anyway, I was happy that I got to go. Good music, good food, good people for the most part, and it was just nice. It was super fucking chill. So those were my tales from the pit, and that rounds up my month of October. My litany, my series of shows, my whole book of tales from the pit circa October 2025. And now October has ended. There are a couple of shows tonight on Halloween, but by the time you're watching this, you will probably have already most likely heard about it. So, I mean, there's a couple shows. There's a punk rock Halloween over at Oliver's, and then there's the Halloween flea market over at Aces, and there's also there's a show going on after that. I may or may not be at one of those shows. I may be somewhere else that night. We shall see. But either way, I'm celebrating. I'm going to be dressing up. It's going to be a fun time. But moving into November, let's see what we got in November. The next couple of weeks are also pretty damn loaded. On the 1st, there are 3 shows on the 1st to start with. So we'll start the first on the first is Restraining Order and Leaving Time and Skin Show. That's going to be at One Love Coffee down in West Jordan, Utah. That is a $15 show, and it starts at 7 p.m. Then on November 1st, yeah, I'm probably just going to keep saying it that way. Golpe from Italia is going to be coming to Salt Lake. They'll be playing with All Systems Fail, Cerebros Destruidos, Griebler, and Futex. That's going to be at 6th and 6th Studios on, I think, 6th South and 6th East. Probably. I'm not entirely sure on the address, but if you're a punk rocker and you know all these bands, then you know. But definitely show up, give some money to the Italians. And we need the soldi. It's $10 or pay what you can. Just give something because they got to go all the way back across the fucking Atlantic. So help them out, will you? Starts at 6 p.m. And then finally on the 1st, AFI is coming to The Complex. That is a $50 show. It may have raised since the last time I checked, but you don't know, you never know. It's that son of a bitch is going to start at 7 p.m. AFI have come back to Salt Lake many times. This is on tour of their newest album that came out. I can't remember what it's called, but I do know the music. It is very new wave, very Cure-esque. They're still riding that wave. It was once they did from the album they released in 2015. I think it was 2015 2017 or 2016. Again, I'm not good with dates, man. But it was the Blood album. The Blood album saw their turn more into a more into the sounds of like the Cure and the Smiths, that sort of post-punk new wave sort of feel. And it looks like they're still doing that with this album, which is cool. They do it pretty well, so good on them. You know AFI, they don't stay in one place long. But maybe in regards to the holiday, you might get a chance to hear him play something from the All Hallows EP. That would be nice. It sure would be nice. But anyway, on the 6th, Death to All. That is the band who is basically Death. It's some of the original members of Death and Chuck Schuldinger's son, who is taken over as the lead vocalist and guitarist. So this is as close to the original band Death that you will get to see. And I have yet to see them. I am going to this fucking show. I need to make sure that I see them because I've seen Left for Dead, which is the bassist and guitarist, and I think also the drummer from the Leprosy and Spiritual Healing era of Death. But these guys, I think, are more of the real deal. But yeah, they're on tour. They're calling it the Symbolic Healing Tour, which means they are playing a set that's predominantly songs from the album Symbolic and Spiritual Healing. Spiritual Healing is neck and neck with Leprosy as my favorite Death album. So this is going to be fucking awesome. I need to get there. Anyway, they'll also be playing with Gorguts and Phobophilic. That's going to be at the Metro. It is $42. May have gone up since I last checked, but just expect to pay somewhere upwards of that amount. And that starts at 6 p.m. Then on the... Oh, I think I jumped ahead a little bit. That was on the 6th. On the 4th... Yeah, we're going to go back in time a couple of days. On the 4th, 200 Stab Wounds, Dead Heat, No Cure, and Bastardane is going to be playing at the Complex. It's going to be on the side with the smaller stage. So it's going to be a lot more intimate, and it's going to be a lot more dangerous. It's going to be fucking brutal. I mean, I've seen Dead Heat before, and 200 Stab Wounds. It gets pretty insane, but No Cure, they are a different brand of heavy. Those guys are fucking insane on the record. I can only imagine how crazy they would get live. I think I need to go to this show now that I think about it. Anyway, it's $33. It starts at 7 p.m. Meanwhile, at the Metro, the mighty New York hardcore legends, the Ugly and Proud, Sheer Terror, are returning to Salt Lake. I saw them play back in a couple of years ago when they were playing with Slapshot at Aces High. That was a fun show. So Sheer Terror, they're great to see live. They are super fun. I mean, Ray Bees, he is Ray Bees, I'm sorry, that's a different New York hardcore band, and that man is dead. Paul Bearer is what I'm saying. Paul Bearer is a hell of a front man. You can tell he's just having so much fun up there. So it's awesome to have Sheer Terror back in good old Salt Lake. And who should be playing with them but our boys and Don't Trust Anybody and Skin Show. That's going to be over at the Metro, and it's $30, starts at 7 p.m. And then on the 7th, we got a couple of shows happening, the first of which will be Captain Daniels and the Sunnybrook Sailors, Frick, Drollbox, Satan himself, over at Aces High Saloon, $10 to enter, and starts at 7 p.m. Then we have another very famous, very well-established hardcore band called Shai Hulud coming to Salt Lake with Denial of Life, No Hand, and Gracemaker. Well, No Hand and Gracemaker already here, but Shai Hulud, when was the last time they came to Salt Lake? Honestly, when was the last time they really toured? And finally, on the 15th, the mighty Thrice, the famous and coveted Thrice, are coming back to Salt Lake with Modern Color and Downward. That is going to be at the Union. It is somewhere north of $40 to enter, and that son of a bitch going to be starting at 7 p.m. So we're going to go back to the second here. The second, Suicide Cages, Ira Knox, and Ghost Frame be playing at Aces High Saloon. That is a early show. It's going to be starting at 5 p.m. and it's going to be $15 to enter. Let's see. On the 7th, Fig and Solitude are going to be playing at Piper Down. Yeah, nice little bar down there. It's a $5 entry fee and starts at 9 p.m. Yeah, then then jumping back to the 14th, Godot, Acid Hologram, Gracemaker, and First Grade Fight Club. Those were the days, I tell you. Going to be playing at Aces High. That is a $8 show. That's a $15 show starting at 8 p.m. And I think that's all the ones that I have that I missed out. No, it is not. On the 8th, over at Ice House, there is going to be the American Horror EP release party with Wicked Temple and Acid Hologram. So it's, as you can see, it's Halloween sort of carrying over into November. That's how overloaded October was. That part of the holiday has to bleed into the next month. And you know what? That's cool with me. Whatever fucking keeps Christmas at bay. You know? Okay. So it was a little disjointed in the end there, guys. I'm sorry about that. But what's important is that you got the information. And if you're not going to be watching it, then I will be posting about it on my socials, on my Instagram, so that you can get the information either way. And really, you only come in here to hear the story about the shows, right? The Tales from the Pit. But anyway, guys, that does it for me. That was this week's episode of Live and Wired and Tales from the Pit. I hope you had a good time watching this and listening to this, however you choose to absorb this information. But guys, I will be definitely attending a few more shows in this next week, in the next couple of weeks. Who knows what tales I will have for next time. And I hope that you guys have your own tales from the pit to tell for next week. So guys, this has been Eric the Unit Norris of SLC Punkcast, Live and Wired and Tales from the Pit. Signing off. I'm going to send it over to Dustin. I'll see you in the pit, motherfuckers. Take care.
Thank you, Eric. And before we get going around the world, here's the flyer. As Eric pointed out in one of his tales from the pit, we both went to the Knuckleheadz, Slaughterhouse, and GBH show. I got there early. Had to see Knuckleheadz again. I got to see him at Punk Rock Invasion the LA Punk Invasion earlier this year. And they were awesome. Glad that they came here. We were their last show on their leg of the tour. They were awesome. If you ever get a chance to see Knuckleheadz, they put on a killer show. Hardcore punk, 2-minute songs. Their 25-plus minute set was probably 12 songs, something like that, man. They were killing it. I loved it. Well worth going. Hadn't seen Slaughterhouse, and they were great, even with the fill-in singer, as Eric had pointed out. And they are a show that you should go check out. I'd seen GBH a couple times, 2 times since the last album came out. So not that I didn't want to see him. I definitely went with the intention to see him. Poor excuse is that I a lower back workout the day before, and my back was just killing me. I was trying to power through, and finally I just said, fuck it, I'm out. So there we go. Sad old man tale from the pit, but I did get to enjoy Knuckleheadz and Slaughterhouse, both phenomenal. Check them out. Mainliners have now taken place, as you can see on the flyer. Knuckleheadz, so it's Slaughterhouse GBH mainliners. Halloween, they're in Detroit the 1st, Cleveland, Ohio, Pittsburgh on the 2nd, Philly on the 4th, Boston on the 6th, New York on the 7th, Baltimore 8th, Richmond, Virginia on the 9th, Atlanta on the 11th, and finally they wrap up in Nashville on the 12th. Then you got this show Saturday, November 8th, Bad Terms playing with Poor Impulse Control, Battery March, Impact Driver, who just dropped a new release, The Workers, their new EP, I believe, came out recently as well. This is at O'Brien's Pub in Alston, and is Alston, was that Pennsylvania, I think, I want to say? No, Boston. It's Boston. What the fuck am I saying? Most of those fucking bands are from Boston. Anyway, $15, 21 and older. Doors at 7, music at 8, also featuring DJ Gabe. This weekend in California, in Pomona tonight, Halloween, Fox Theater. You get the Addicts, the Briefs, and Channel 3, and they will be together as well at Fonda Theater in Los Angeles on the 1st. So go enjoy Dia de los Muertos if you're not already there at the Halloween show. Our pals in Krang have a few shows coming up. Their show in Krakow already went on by the time, this is definitely beyond the time that they would have been playing in Poland when this is coming out. But in the next couple weeks, they'll be in Germany. Got a weekender on the 7th and 8th in Hamburg and Bremen. They got a show in Czechia on the 14th, another one in Germany on the 15th, and then they'll wrap up this month on the 26th. Also in Czechia, supporting Ignite. On November 6th, Impact Driver, they'll be playing with The Fiends, Seclusion, and Charged Youth. Check that out. It'll be in Washington, D.C. at Hades Restaurant. Killer flyer there. It's $10. All ages show. Get the all ages out there and go see them. Hostel City Weekender is going to be in Upper Darby, PA on November 7th and November 8th. You'll get to see Rebelmatic, Incendiary Device, Rambler, Ravagers, The Fiends, Impact Driver, Little Bambinos, Membranes, and then on the 8th, Lower Class Brats, The Virus, FOD, Blank 77, Broken Heroes, Dusters, Doc Rotten, The Stress, Flipside, and Broiled Humanoid. It's $45 for both days. Well worth it with all those bands that you're getting. 2 days of punk oi tattoos, vendors. Get to that Hostel City Weekender. That one is killer. In Cork, our pals in Easy Company are playing with the Revolt and Molly Vulpine Band at the Alternative Monster Return of the Undead Punks. This is November 1st at Poor Relation, 8 p.m., and it's free to get in. But go bring some money and support the bands anyway. I'm sure they'll all have a little something, T-shirts, records, and such to sell. On Saturday, November 8th, in Baltimore, Maryland, go see Fashion Crime, The Stivs. Is it the Steves? The Stivs. Bad to Worse, and Orlando Furioso HC. The doors are at $7, $10 cash. It's 21 and older, unfortunately, for you youngsters, but still a great lineup nonetheless. And that will wrap it up. I hope you I know it's light for me this week, a little busy. Didn't get a chance to cover as many flyers. This time of year does get a little quieter, but I think you'll still have some shows. And the Winter Weekender, I think, in Houston's coming in December. Or it might even be November this year. I'll have to look that one up. We'll have a little bit more for you on the next week. But thank you for tuning in this week, and we'll catch you on the next one.